Good one, me. I was gonna make the video saying how I feel more alert today, and then I just yawned and, yeah, my eyes are full of like sleepy feels. But no, it's a different sort of tiredness. It feels more like normal tiredness, whereas the past few days I've had more of that really heavy brain fog, and I think it's partly because with being sick and my nose being so stuffed, I was taking Dimetap, kids Dimetap, because I can't handle anything else. But yeah, I was taking that, and it's an older antihistamine, so it does make you drowsy. Whereas now that my nose is finally cleared up some, I've been able to get back on the nasal sprays, and the Nasonex doesn't even have an antihistamine in it. It's more steroid based. So yeah, today so far I haven't had that really heavy brain fog, but I am still tired. I'm also still a little bit sick. Still got crap in my throat, but I think now that my nose is starting to behave, hopefully I get less of that post nasal drip and, all the gunk. Like, it's a sign that the gunk is clearing up. And so, yeah, hopefully all this respiratory stuff will clear up and I'll be able to do things again. Yeah, a few days ago, just trying to breathe to do singing exercises, I was starting to get lightheaded, which is not good. That's a sign that I'm not getting enough oxygen. So, yeah. And then also my vocal cords and that whole mechanism having a lot of just trash on there. So, sounds, my voice has been getting more and more back to normal, but I can still sense, that extra bit of just like, nah, it's not quite there. Yeah, and I'm still getting like a bit of a throat tickle as well. But anyway, like I'm on the mend, and I guess what I was thinking about is just like, I mean, sickness is one of those things that makes it harder to do anything, right? Because obviously you're sick, and then if you've got the brain fog, how can you concentrate on anything? So for the past few days, it's been so hard to concentrate. And it's really annoying that I've gotten sick because, like, for most of this month, I've had so many days where I've had the house to myself. And I just haven't been able to do anything with it, like making YouTube videos, but also with music type stuff. Because one of the things that I wanted to do this month was get back into making cover videos. And I was practicing the songs and it was getting good. But then I got sick, and now I haven't even been able to practice, never mind film them. And I think it's just not going to happen by the end of the month. I've only got a few more days left, and I'm still coughing. So that really sucks. And there's other music things that I'm working on and have been wanting to do. Hello, little thing of dust. Um, yeah, sorry, that was distracting. Yeah, there's other things, and it's just like, I can't, because of my health. But yeah, no, I was thinking more about the concentration issues as well, though, because also I've had trouble with motivation, which I guess goes hand in hand with, the brain fog kind of feels like if you can't focus, how can you be motivated? And if your whole body just feels like a blob, how can you be motivated? But, like motivation's a problem that I've had a lot. And like I can come up with ideas, and it's the same thing with YouTube videos. I can come up with all these ideas, but if I don't film them right then, uh, my motivation to film on that topic just. And so if a video is going to take like more research or planning to make, good luck to me ever making that video because I just can't concentrate on it. And the longer it takes to plan something, the more that my brain is going to be like, nah, that idea is boring. Like, I get the novelty of the idea wears off and I never get around to it. So that's why I'm recording this as kind of an impulsive thing. And that's maybe why most of my videos are impulsive and I rarely plan anything because, yeah, I just lose interest in the ideas so quickly. And I assume that's a mental health issue. Maybe that's a schizoid issue, the sort of apathy and anhedonia is like I can't hold on to excitement about ideas. And maybe that sort of schizoid mental health issue is part of why it's so hard for me to get anything done because yeah if I have a brief feeling of excitement or interest, or I'm not sure what the right word is, but if I have a brief feeling like yay, I just can't hold on to it. My brain can't hold on to that feeling and it just goes and yeah, so like apart from sickness, I'm just predisposed to lose interest in things, and that's kind of a pattern through my life as well, because when I've picked up hobbies, it's very rare for me to hold on to any hobbies. Like the fact that I've been able to hold on to music for so long, that is very unusual. Maybe it's because music helps me feel things that I couldn't usually feel, um, which is kind of a weird thing. But the trouble with that is if I'm not actually listening to the music that makes me feel the thing, I can forget that music has that effect on me. I don't know if that's something as well. Um, but yeah, so, I've had all this time to record videos. And like yesterday, for example, I did have a lot of that brain fog and not being able to concentrate and that drowsy feeling. But I had that time that I could have filmed, and I'm just like, I can't think of anything I would say. And even making this video right now, it took me a while to decide what I would even talk about. Because, yeah, I can come up with ideas, but I'm like, well, why would I talk about that? Am I really interested in that? Like, what's the point? And then I think also, like, with modern YouTube, maybe that's altered how I approach things as well. Because, like, in the past, I remember I used to make videos sometimes twice a day. Granted, back then there was the 10-minute time limit, which eventually got squeezed out to 15 minutes. But yeah, I couldn't ramble for like half an hour like I tend to do these days. But yeah, I was making more than one video a day. And how did I come up with things to talk about? I wonder if maybe it's because YouTube was a lot less structured. Because this is, almost 15 years ago that I was doing that stuff. Nowadays, like, for example, I do sometimes have opinions on things like politics or world events or whatever. But nowadays, I feel like there's no point me talking about stuff because there are people who their whole channel is dedicated to political commentary and they spend all this time, like researching stuff and keeping up to date with stuff and, structuring their opinions. And it's sort of like, well, if there's all these other people already doing it, what's the point of me? Like, what do I have to add? Not really much. I think there's a bit of that. Also, I guess, like, on the topic of politics in particular, like, people have gotten super crazy about it. Like, I know, like, for ages, there's always been that thing of, like, you shouldn't talk about politics, religion, or something else, I forget. But yeah, like, when you're at the dinner table, don't bring up these certain topics. But, like, it feels like it's gotten more extreme on the internet, I guess, just because of the number of people who can get involved and the extremes. Like, the people who are most vocal about things like politics tend to be the people who have the most extreme feelings and extreme opinions. So you don't get as much nuanced conversation. And I don't know, I think maybe that's a bit off-putting because, like, I could just ignore my comment section, and I have been doing that increasingly. But there's still, sometimes your brain just latches on to something someone said, and it's like, I could keep quiet, but that little feeling in the back of my head still wants to respond to it. And that can be kind of annoying. I don't know. But like other things that I don't talk about as much, well, for example, the vampire thing, which I keep thinking about because of the situation with sanguinarius.org, which, yeah, that being taken over by gambling is just really sad. And it's a shame that the domain name got taken over. But anyway, yeah, no, thinking about that, I used to talk about vampires a lot. And why don't I talk about it now? Well, in part because it's less of a concern, but also I feel like if I was going to address it now, because that resource isn't so easy to access, like you have to go on the Wayback Machine. It's sort of like, well, if I was gonna make videos about vampires again, where would I even start? Like, would I start off with like, what is the real vampire lifestyle, and sort of go through more of that? Because most people on the internet probably don't even know anymore, because a lot of the like little documentaries that are around never really went into a huge amount of depth and tend to focus on the more sensational things. And then, it's sort of like, oh, how quirky is this? But it's not really taking the subculture seriously, I feel. And I don't know, I haven't really stumbled across any like major vampire influences in that sense. Like, I think maybe these days it's less of a thing. So if I was going to talk about it, would I have to introduce the topic in a more structured way? And then I get on, so you can see I'm getting into this thought loop where instead of making the video, I'm like, where do I start? What do I include? Would I have to plan it? Because if I was going to do a proper introduction, I would have to like have all my dot points and structure it, and then I just never make the video. And then there are those, like, I do have those old transcripts of interviews with vampires, but if I don't introduce the topic, do people even know what I'm talking about? Or they just think that I'm talking some crazy shit and it's not based on someone's actual lifestyle? Is it like a fan fiction thing? Like, I don't know, there's all this overthinking as well that gets in the way of me doing stuff. I'm really good at coming up with ideas. I'm really bad at the execution. I think there's probably a lot of us out there. And maybe this is like what the whole point of conceptual art is, because in conceptual art, it's the concept that's the most important thing, and who gives a shit about the execution? But then the execution is often crap, and so it's like, well, why did you bother? Yeah, I don't know. It's so much overthinking. Anyway, yeah, no, I come up with a lot of ideas. I guess it is a combination of that overthinking of where would I start, how would I pull off this idea, not just for videos, but like, you know, I've wanted to write like a concept album or something, you know, for my music, and then it's sort of like, well, what topic would it be on? How many songs would it be? What would it sound like? And I just sort of get a bit, also just like with visual art. And then I think after a while of that overthinking, maybe it's some of that anhedonia that kicks in, and you know, that inability to hold on to the novelty of it, that just all wears off, and then I'm like, I'll just do something else. And then I often forget what I'm supposed to be doing, and then I write to-do lists, and then I'll go back and look at my to-do list, and I actually have a pretty long one about videos to make for YouTube, but then anytime I read it, I'm just like, yeah, that was kind of a good idea, but I kind of don't care anymore. Or I'll read another one and be like, I don't remember what that was even about. And yeah, it's frustrating that to-do lists don't even help much. Like, to-do lists are good when there's something really concrete, like, you know, I need to buy something because I've run out, like toothpaste. I did that one day not too long ago. I bought some new toothpaste. I still haven't run out of my old toothpaste, but at least I have the new box there, right? To-do lists are good for that kind of thing, but when it comes to the creative stuff, I think because the creative stuff relies so much on me having some kind of motivation and having some kind of inspiration, if I'm not inspired, it's sort of like, why would I bother making this? And like, why would I bother filming YouTube? YouTube, I do have, and like also recording music. The constraints I have are the fact that I have such a limited amount of time to record anything, because there's only limited amounts of time that I have the place to myself, and that's when I feel most comfortable, and also when there's not noise. Sometimes also those times where I think I have a noise-free place, the fucking neighbors will bring out their leaf blower. They did that like 2 days in a row this week, I think. It's just like, why are you people like that? God. Yeah, but, you know, that doesn't help. Like, the fact that I can't do things when I feel inspired. You know, like, I might get into an idea, but it's at the wrong time, and so I can't sit down and film the damn video because, there's too much noise around, there's too much distraction, and I can't concentrate for whatever reason, and so I'm like, okay, I'll do it later. And then later comes when I have this free time, and I'll just be like, oh, that's not such a great idea after all, or oh, I can't remember why I was interested in that idea. So yeah, there's stuff like that. I think also probably just how I've changed over time maybe gets in the way, but I can't really think about where that thought's going. Sometimes when I go for walks with my dog is when I do a lot of that kind of thinking, and you know, think about how I've changed over time, and a sense of disconnect from my past. I made that video, 3 ways my sense of self is kind of messed up. And lately I've had issues with my sense of self across time, like, me now versus me a year ago even. Yeah, that makes things a little bit confusing. Maybe that's also something that makes it difficult with the vampire stuff, because I used to be really fascinated by it, and now I rarely think about it except for the fact that Sanguinarius, the website's down and probably not coming back, at least not on that domain name. And I get the sense that the online vampire community is a lot weaker, and so there's no one really taking charge. I got a comment a while back saying that someone was planning to take charge, but clearly didn't happen. Yeah. And it's only like really the nostalgia that maybe keeps me interested. I don't know. Yeah, at the moment, oh no, I would get into some really complicated shit if I talk. Like, the sort of darker parts of my sense of self have been less of an issue, but on the other hand, I've been looking at a shop that sells a lot of goth products, and it actually has brought back some of that vibe, but it doesn't really last, and then I go back to lazy pink cat mode, basically wearing trackies and keeping warm. It's a bit warmer outside these days, but my house is really cold in winter. It's one of those like old houses with a little bit too much insulation, but instead of keeping the heat in, it just feels really cold all the time. Blah, 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 blah. I think I've completely lost my train of thought, but it was stuff about feeling sick. My nose is still running, and I keep having to blow my nose. I've gone through like a whole fucking box of tissues in the past while. It's bad, and I don't know, I need to get back into the singing. It's really annoying that I got sick when I did, because I was like actually getting into a routine again with my singing and with that sort of creative stuff. And then too sick to sing. Voice not working, lungs not working, nose going off too much. And so I've fallen out of that habit again, and I need to try and get myself back into it. But like, forming a habit is a lot of work. And so if I'm tired, it's really hard to do that. I guess also time managing between YouTube and music things, it can be a bit tricky sometimes. But no, that was really annoying, because I was really getting into a better habit. And also like a while ago, I managed to stop playing Neopets, but then when I'm so tired and sick and can't focus on anything else, like what else can I do? I chuck on a YouTube video and start playing Neopets again, and then of course the addictive part of Neopets kicks in, and it's like, well, shit, I've fallen into this rut again. So yeah, getting sick is super annoying and inconvenient because it just screws up everything. And like I feel like I didn't quite recover from COVID anyway, in the sense of like my energy levels were still struggling to come back from COVID. I was probably just starting to make it out of that. Because I'm already not a very fit person after a few years of like, like COVID making us sit around and giving me an excuse to be a blob again. And so I stopped going to gigs, stopped going out much. So, I have lost fitness over the years. So there's already that, but then when COVID hit me, like that was really bad because I had a fever for like a week, and I was definitely in bed for a week. I think I had a fever for a week because I kept having to put that cloth over my head. And then, still having issues for another week after that, and then my voice taking a while to recover after that. Like that wasn't that long ago. That was 2 months ago I got sick with COVID. And then, yeah, trying to come back with the energy. And then, a month after all that probably cleared up, I'm sick again. It's like, are you kidding me? This year's been really bad for sickness and also for my mental health. I've been doing better for the past few weeks despite the sickness in terms of psychology, because things have been more chill around the house. But, yeah, this has been a really annoying year. And the sickness also, like the timing's so bad because I was just getting back into music projects, and now it's like, well, I gotta fight against the lethargy and try and get back into things, and I've got to do some singing practice and see how long I can sing without coughing, because it's so hard to work on stuff if I have to keep stopping to like clear my throat and cough up some more crap and blow my nose. But yeah, the fact that I can talk more without coughing, you can tell I'm getting better, but I'm super frustrated. I've like, this whole month, pretty much like just haven't been able to get stuff done and haven't been able to do practice. I only got a few more days of like good filming time, and I haven't been able to practice those covers. And then after that, I don't know, it's gonna get tricky. I can practice, but when will I get to film? That's gonna be difficult to think about. Anyway, like, I'm rambling. I think I'm going around in circles. I don't even know what I'm gonna call this video at this stage. But yeah, just thought I'd jump in and grab this period of time where I've got the house to myself. And, you know, now that I'm more alert, I'm definitely more alert than I was yesterday. There's no way I could have made this video, because I just had no energy at all yesterday. It was really bad. But today, yeah, I'm doing better. I've already walked Hope. What'll I do now? I suppose I should have some lunch and then get this video online, but also do some singing practice. Singing practice! Okay, me, we're gonna do some singing practice. Fucking focus. Have something to eat, then do some singing practice. Cool. Yes, I'm talking to myself on Oh, what a mess my channel is. And you know, vidIQ, I filled out a survey for them, and then they're like, sent me an email saying, oh, can we do a video call with you to see how you use it and improve the thing? And I'm like, should I do it? Will they look at my channel and be like, this girl is not serious about being successful on YouTube? Maybe I should just do it for lols though. They said they give me a $50 Amazon voucher if I do it. I dislike Amazon as a company, but sometimes there are things that are okay to buy there, and there are a few things that I probably need, so yeah, stuff and things. Join my cult, although I haven't been posting as much lately just because I haven't been able to concentrate. I did tee up something for the paid section of my cult, but didn't actually post it. And haven't been posting much free stuff, but I'll get there. And then Patreon sent me another email saying, hey, you should sell digital products. And I'm like, but what? What digital products does anyone want from me? I don't fucking know. All this stuff about like, maybe okay, to tie it into the whole anhedonia and lack of focus stuff, maybe that's why I just can't do anything. Like, everything I do is kind of token. I do a lot of stuff a little bit well. There's nothing I do particularly well because I just can't concentrate long enough to make it that far in any part of my life. Like, fucking, what a mess I am. Anyway, more rambling. Bye. I'm just gonna go. Join my fucking cult. That's Patreon. You can sign up for free, and every now and then I'll post something for free. And I don't know, if you want a Discord, this is mainly directed at Mad Simple, but if you want a Discord, like, just join my cult and we can chat there, right? My audience isn't that chatty. I don't think anyone really wants Discord. It just seems like another chat place, and if we don't chat, what's the fucking point? Anyway, I'm getting myself